All right, Google Hangouts is we're live. So we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to In the Pocket, presented by CrossBonesMMA. My name is Eddie Law. Once again, returning from overseas. Of course, he lives on the other side of the pond, so it's later in the day for him. It's early for me, or not early, but early-ish. It's Mr. Max Reed. How you doing, man?
All right, Paul, how you doing?
Pretty good. You know, what can I say? It's Sunday, and there's no what we call football. It's American football. There's soccer on TV. There's no football, so it's a weird thing. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of watching soccer other than the World Cup. And to be honest with you, as soon as Mexico loses, I'm out. I'm done. I don't even care to watch it anymore. So you know, it's just I'm about my teams anyway. All right. So we're gonna talk about quite a few things today. We're gonna start with some glory kickboxing. If first of all, if you don't watch kickboxing, I get it. It's okay. You need to watch Muay Thai for sure. I'm talking, you know, like legit Muay Thai. Even cage Muay Thai, Mr. John Wayne Parr's promotion is incredible. I've seen it. I've only seen it on YouTube, right? I haven't found a stream, like a good stream that I can sit and watch when it's live. But that cage Muay Thai thing is legit. You need to watch that. Actual, like regular Muay Thai in a ring, incredible. All right, but Glory Kickboxing, for those in the U.S. especially that can't watch those things live or at all, Glory Kickboxing is pretty damn good. And we had two legends in Muay Thai actually competing this weekend. Or was it this weekend? Or the week before?
Yeah. The weekend is gone. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. At Glory Kickboxing 31, we had, and I know I'm gonna just destroy the names. We had Sunshine and how do you say Sitachi? Is it just like that? Sitachi?
Sitachi, yeah. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Andrew was giving me shit. He's like, you and Max need to do a show because none of these American reporters, in fact, none of these reporters can say the names correctly, and it's embarrassing. He's all pissed off about it, and like, so it's good. Yeah. So it's good that we got you on there to correct them all. Because again, like I've only heard like one reporter say him correctly, and he said it correctly the first time, and then when he repeated the name later, it was awful. Like he just destroyed Sitachi's name. So it was just, all right, dude, you need to stop. So anyway, it was actually the debut for Sitachi in kickboxing, I believe, right?
It was his glory, like, yeah. Like, I think
Glory.
Kickboxing was in like Japan maybe like 5 years ago or something. Like that was his glory.
Yeah. So it was his glory debut, and he look, the dude, he was taken on Eddie Knight Slimani, I believe his name was. Yeah. And the cool thing about that was that, and you tell me what you think about the fight, but the first round, it was like he was giving respect, right? He was taking him serious. He was giving him respect, whatnot. After that first round, though, the rest of the fight, Sanchez was acting a fool, man. He was just like, dude, you know you're not good enough to be in here with me at all. All right, so I'm going to toy with you. I'm going to make you feel bad, and I'm going to beat you. And like, it was just, I was laughing. I was laughing so hard. And I watched it. I watched it the day, not live, but I watched it the day it went down. And then I just rewatched it again this morning, and I couldn't stop laughing at how Sanchez was toying with this guy. And then when this guy realized that he was getting messed with, dude, it was perfect. And what did you think of the fight and Sanchez's performance as a whole?
I thought it was beautiful. Like I was getting so shook to begin with. Like I was like, oh god, like it happens a lot when a Thai guy gets their like tools taken away when they go to glory or they go to fighting China or something like that. You see them, they do sort of lose that factor that they have in full Thai rules. Yeah. I was so happy to see it. But yeah, well, again, just playing with him just like he messes with all his other opponents in full Thai rules. And like that knockdown as well. Like it was a bit like it wasn't like obviously like you didn't need a proper count or anything like that, but it was perfect. Like it was such like came in with a bang.
Yeah, and then the last round, Slimani used his elbows, right? It was weird. It was like a clinch, and Slimani like threw an elbow and hit him with it. And the funniest thing was Sanchez going, "Hey, you can't do this shit!" Like he was like elbows, man. And I'm sitting here going, "Dude, you're the elbow guy. You're the elbow guy. Like, what are you doing?" And it was seriously. I'm a bigger fan of Sanchez now because of that. Because he went in there, he gave respect when it was due, and then he was like, "All right, now it's my turn." And he just let the guy know you're not good enough to be in here with me, and almost like he was telling him. And he got a point taken away, he still won. But it was but the funny part of it was to me, he was like telling Slimani, like, dude, you're lucky this is kickboxing. In Muay Thai, you would have died in the ring. Like it's ridiculous. Huge fan of that guy. And then Sidichai went in there. And Sidichai looked focused, by the way. Even on the walkout, Sidichai was just like stone faced. And most Thais are, like when they go out to fight, especially most of the serious Thai fighters are, in my experience, but from what I've seen. But Sidichai goes in there. He's a stone face. He gets in the ring and he's staring at the champ, right? And just like it's almost like he was staring like a giant that he knew he had to slay. Like he needs to finish this guy. He went in there and in the first fight, he was very defensive. This is a rematch, but in the first fight, very defensive. Ended up losing that by decision, I think, and in decision. And he was very defensive. He didn't. It was almost like he's being very careful about when he threw, when he engaged, and the champ took advantage of that. In this fight, that was not the case whatsoever. There was very little defensive strategy by Sidichai and Sidichai. God damn it! I'm screwing it up now. Anyway, so but what I liked about the fight the most is that he went after him. He went after him hard, and he did eat a lot of inside leg kicks in the first, I think, 3 rounds. And then champ stopped using it for some reason. The champ stopped using that inside leg kick that was so damn effective. Like you can see the red marks all down Sidichai's leg, and I was just like, dude, why did you stop? So overall, Sidichai, and you tell me what you thought of the fight, of course, but Sidichai seemed to want to stay at range, as most Thai fighters want to be, like at range, stay out of any kind of inside, taking any shots to the body. The other guy wanted to be inside as much as he could. And Sidichai ended up winning by split decision. It was really like a razor thin close fight. But what did you think of the fight?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was really, really good to see Sidichai use more boxing as well. In the last fight, it was sort of like it was just a boxer against a PK karate guy or something like that. It was just I'm going to throw punches or throw kicks. But in this fight, he started to get hands on. He actually caught Sanders line quite a few times as well. It just shows that he keeps evolving. He's won he's won about 6 one-night tournaments in about a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And then it's just nice to see him sort of gradually progress from being like a stadium guy that wasn't that successful in the stadium. I think he might have won that champion title. And he was good in the stadium, but he was never like the pinnacle of a stadium fighter. And then seeing him transition to kickboxing and start gradually get better and use the rules to his advantage. And it's nice to see in that sort of that full circle. I know that it wasn't in the area and it wasn't a dominating performance. But it wasn't necessarily a dominating performance. But it's nice to see that he's not just thinking, trying to think and throw that left kick. He actually wants to stand and bang as well. Once again, it could have been a detriment against Van Roosmalen, but luckily he didn't drop.
Yeah, no, and yeah, that left was nasty. And here's the thing about the end of the fight. First of all, he wins. It was a title fight. He is now the Glory Lightweight champ. Probably my favorite part of the entire thing was Sanchez getting in there. He had the picture of the king over his head and all that, and that was great. But just seeing 2 guys of their caliber posing for a picture together, I'm a big fan of historic moments, right? Muhammad Ali's picture when he's standing above after knocking down, getting the knockdown. What else? Michael Jordan and the last, the game-winning shot against the Jazz when he was still a Bull. Those historic moments, stuff that you just saw some greatness there. That last picture at the end, to me, was just like, whoa! I just saw, the 2 guys together. They went to Amsterdam together. They both won together. They both won, and they actually, they're like helping each other out to win fights. That to me was great. I mean, I was talking to you on Twitter about the picture. I was like, dude, that was amazing. Yeah. So it was,
especially when they're foreigners essentially. Like in Thailand, obviously they see everyone would know and all that sort of stuff. I'm not saying no one knows them, but to come to the West, it's a bit different from being in the West and being in Thailand. You see him in the kickboxing ring, like you said, the swimming championship, like King being held up above them, like proper representing Thai boxing in the
yeah. They went over to Amsterdam and took over and they won. And they were just like, hey, we're Team Thailand, man. Yeah, over there, yeah, we might, whatever. It might be whatever it is. But over here, it's like we're on the same team. So it was actually very cool to see. And I seriously love that picture they took. I think that should be more of a thing. But you know, between, at least especially between legends and between, you know, those big name, high caliber fighters. All right. So let's move on here to some MMA. Kicking off first, obviously, unfortunate passing. I'm sure you've heard by now. Ryan Jimmo passing away due to after he was hit by a vehicle. Now, and if anyone hasn't heard yet, the two suspects in the vehicle that hit him have been arrested and have been charged, I believe. But you know, so you know that out of the way. It's I don't know. First of all, we lost so many combat sports guys this year, right? And a couple have been to getting hit by cars. It's pretty crazy, but it's such a shock, and it's always a shock when someone passes away. But in combat sports, we haven't had to deal with that very much. You know what I mean? So you know, we had Jordan Parsons, the kid in Florida, getting hit by a car and passing away, and then Kimbo Slice. That one was huge. I know we haven't talked about that one, but you know, Kimbo Slice passing away from that heart issue. Like, ooh, dude, what the hell, you know? And then, you know, Ryan Jimmo and it's weird. But first, let's talk about Kimbo Slice because we didn't get a chance to. What did you think about? Like, first of all, how did you feel when you heard of the news that he passed away? And what does Kimbo Slice mean to you as far as his career goes?
Well, I suppose the same as everyone. Like, I only got into MMA in like 2008, so I was a Kimbo fan before I was an MMA fan. Like, it's really strange to think about it that way. Like, and it's a nice sentiment. Like, it shows that he is a big reason why there's a lot of eyes in the sport. Like, I didn't necessarily get into MMA because of Kimbo, and I wasn't going, I'm looking at it fighting in the UFC. But it's just nice to know that a lot of people might be in the same boat as me, where they were actually watching Kimbo on YouTube before they even knew what MMA was. Which is good, many people have, if you ask me.
Yeah. No, it's a trip, man. I don't. The Kimbo Slice thing would trip me out, and then the Ryan Jimmo thing was really, like, to me it was shocking because like people were hitting me up on Twitter, tweeting me, going, "Hey, have you heard about Kimbo Slice? Is it true?" They're asking me to find out if it was true, and I was just like, "Dude, I just heard about this. Like I learned because people were tweeting me about it, and I actually did try to call down and find out if it was true or not. They weren't taking any calls at that point, but it's it was really weird. Ryan Jimmo getting hit. Like, I don't know. It's weird. We had Gigi from MMA Junkie Radio on a couple of days ago, and he was very visibly upset. He was really pissed off about it because it's just like we're at a weird part in human history. Like we were talking about this before the show started, that we're in this is the weirdest, greatest, and / almost worst time to be alive, because we're getting that mixture of just like, what the hell is going on, right? Like, back in the day, people would take responsibility for their action for the most part, take responsibility for their action, all that stuff. Like, if you hit someone with a car, you stopped and might make sure they were okay. I mean, now we have two instances of hit and run. Jordan Parsons passing away, getting hit by a car. That was a hit and run. And then this one was a hit and run. And I know, Gorgeous George from MMA Junkie Radio was really upset about that. He was just like, what are we doing now? Where are we at this point now in society that you can hit somebody and just take off? Like, screw them, they're dead, whatever. You know what I mean? So it's really, it's gross. It's messed up. It's an awful thing to do. It's a cowardly thing to do. But it's hard to explain. You know what I mean? And it's just weird. It sucks to see so many combat sports guys, go like that.
Yeah, it's disgusting as well. Like, the fact that you can live with that. Like, who knows, a week later you might turn himself in as 2 hours, but I mean, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I see photos and they don't seem much like that. They seem much like that. It needs to be like grabbed by their neck and taken. And I don't know if this is correct, but I was reading that apparently they had an argument beforehand. Is that right? I assumed that he was just drunk and got hit, but I was reading that apparently there was like an altercation in the car park, and then they hit him when they drove off.
Right.
A lot. I'm not really good to begin with, but Christ.
Yeah, it's from what's been released by the news and by officials and all that. There was an altercation in the parking lot between Ryan Jimmo and these two guys, and as Jimmo was walking to his car, they ran him over, and that was it. So damn, like it's really, really, it's hard. It's hard to, I don't know. For me, it's hard to, and I talk a lot, and it's hard for me to put into words, exactly like how I feel about it, because it's just, I mean, the best I can say is I hope they allow like Ryan Jimmel's family to beat these two guys to death. That's the kind of thing that, you know, like, hey, they deserve to get their ass whooped till they die. Like, that's just kind of what it is. But you know, American justice system, you gotta go to jail, and you gotta hope that, you know, their lawyer doesn't find a way to get them out of it, because we've seen a lot of that around here. So anyway,
is Suge Knight in prison? Because he was on camera mowing someone down a couple of years ago. I mean, what's happened with Suge Knight?
I have no idea exactly. They don't talk about it.
So he mowed someone down in the car park like a couple of years ago, and yeah, that was like on camera and stuff like that. So I don't know. But yeah, justice needs to come through, and I'm not a conservative. I'm not a right wing, or you know, I bring back hanging and all that. But I think when they obviously conspired, they were in the car. They both obviously looked at each other and said, "Yeah, let's do it." Like, I think if ever there was a time to go, right, you don't deserve to be here. And I think when two people conspire to end someone's life, I think that's when the majority of humans can make the call and say, yeah, you can go to the middle world now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I always feel like there's like a group of criminal offenders that if they're you know, without a shadow of a doubt, they're, you know, convicted. Like, the facts are there, there's proof and all that, and there's like it's like completely for sure, right? You go through all we're supposed to do, the whole process. If there's a certain kind of crimes where I'm like, hey man, you can't be here no more. Like, you got your life, you know, you got your life card taken away. That's bullshit. You're done. You know what I mean? And so it's just weird, man. And the justice system, again, it's almost who has a better attorney. We'll find out soon enough. This is Canada. This is, you know, different. So I was like, I don't know, for some reason everything comes into the American justice system, but the Canadian justice system I don't know much about. So
they're a bit closer to England in their justice. I think they might be a bit more like I think it might be a bit. I think where it might be a bit harder to get them off in Canada. I think it might be a bit closer to our justice. I think in like over here, obviously we get 2%, but it's harder to get you off. And in America, I think it's easier to get you off, but you get worse sentences.
Look, man, OJ, you know how OJ got off? OJ got off with literally this, okay? If the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit. Like, how old was I? I was a kid, and I heard that shit. I look at my dad, and I'm like, the hell did he just say? Did he just say that? Really? And when he said not guilty, I was just like, they got off with that. That's all they needed to do.
Yeah.
All the other evidence, and the glove did it. Like, it's like sports almost. It's crazy.
Unbelievable. Yeah, the only reason I know about that case, like in depth, is because of South Park. Like, they take the case, they get John Cochran in, and he's like, it's the glove, yeah. And I was just like, Christ alive, like, since I started researching, I was like, South Park weren't exaggerating. This actually happened. I was like, oh.
Yeah, they do. Those guys, like, that's what I like about South Park. We'll move on to some more MMA. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but this is too much fun for me. Like, South Park is so good at showing how ridiculous people are and how ridiculous, like, their situations are by just literally showing them. That's literally to do. Just with cartoon characters is enough to be like, ha, that's funny. And then you, like I said, you research it and you're just like, holy shit, that's exactly what happened. It's insane. It's insane. All right. Moving on to some more MMA, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the welterweight title picture in the UFC. I don't know if you got to see Stephen Wonderboy's last fight. Did you get to see that one?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, Wonderboy against Rory McDonald, where Rory was completely outclassed, like completely. In fact, Rory almost seemed like to not actually try to fight. It was really weird. But you got to give Wonderboy props. He dismantled them little by little and just completely dominated that fight. So now we look at the title picture. Now, obviously, we got Robbie Lawler against Tyron Woodley, and they've got to start figuring out who the next guy is, right? So after Wonderboy wins, the first thought, of course, right away is, okay, winner of Woodley Lawler gets Wonderboy for the title, right? Except this new fight just came out. They just made it official a couple days ago. Carlos Condit against Damian Maia. So now you're just like, holy shit, wait a second. You know, like, now we got this fight with a guy that went the distance, and you could have made an argument, won that fight against Lawler and Condit, or Damian Maia, who's on a tear right now, and you could also make a case that he's deserving. So now it's like, you know, and I'll ask you this, who's more deserving, in your opinion, of a title shot? You think Stephen Wonderboy should get the next title shot, or is it the winner of Condit Maia?
Personally, I think Wonderboy. Just because of his last 2 wins. I mean, his last fight, it wasn't a TKO or anything like that, but he absolutely dominated Roy McDonald, previous title challenger. Fight before that, previous champion, TKO, like, and yeah, it's only this year.
Yeah.
So those two guys in like, the first half of the year, it's pretty hard to deny in the title stuff. As much as I love Damian Maia, I think I think I don't know. You just need a new breed, and Damian Maia, you might have thought the fight might have been at middleweight, but you need a new breed. And I think Wonderboy is. I mean, Wonderboy's at 33 anyway. Isn't he?
Yeah. They should be calling him Wonder Man.
That, especially against Law, that fight.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know. I agree with you. I want Wonder Boy in there, but man, it depends. To me, I think it depends on how that Conor Maia fight goes. If it's just an insane fight, and people are just like, dude, give that guy the shot. You know how the UFC does it. Here's the thing: people need to let go of this thought that the UFC is fair. It is not at all fair. They give literally zero fucks about being fair, about doing what's right. They don't give a shit about MMA math. Okay, you want proof of that? You want proof of that? Nate Diaz against McGregor 2. There's your proof. They don't give a shit. It is about money. So if that Maia Condit fight is insane, I could see the winner of that fight jumping over Thompson for a title fight. I really hope it doesn't happen. I want Thompson to fight that, and then the winner of Condit Maia could be in line after him if they want. But it's just like, dude, I seriously, I saw that Condit Maia fight, and I was like, yes, today. Let's see it today. I want to see it now. Like, I'm excited as shit about that fight because it's like it's the styles, man. Stand-up guy, for the most part, stand-up guy, and Condit, who by the way gets taken down very easily, and Maia, who's an insane ground guy. I mean, he made Gunnar Nelson. Who, by the way, people that got all pissy when I was laughing about Gunnar Nelson getting destroyed by Maia on the ground. I was getting so much shit from Irish fans, especially. But it was like, oh yeah, this is because of this. Obviously Damian Maia's higher level black belt. Of course, it's gonna happen to Gunny. I'm like, yeah, but you were talking about Gunny was gonna embarrass this guy. That's not happening. Like, do you know about Damian Maia? And so, people were getting all pissy about that, but I'm super excited about it. Like, I don't even care who wins. I just want to see it go down. I'm please, somebody work with Condit on his takedown defense, and somebody working on his jits. Like, Condit has really not creepy, but he's really slick and like surprising underrated jiu-jitsu. But he gets taken down at will. It's like, damn it, dude. Like, stay on your feet.
Yeah.
But
I was chatting to my dad about that, about the Condit fight, and about who was winning. He was just adamant with Maia. And I think if it doesn't come down to a war of the Christians, then Maia will win. If it comes down to a war of the Christians, then chances are, as we've seen, Damian Maia loses a lot of wars of the Christians.
Yeah.
He gets knackered very, very. He is, a lot of like lazy singles, a lot of and as we know, Condit studies target is pretty damn on point.
Yeah. On YouTube, we have one of my friends, Fang, saying Condit is knocking him out if it stays standing. Probably. Here's the problem. Highly doubt it stays standing. Like we said a second ago, Condit, it's very difficult for Condit to stay on his feet. He gets taken down almost at will. And it's just weird, man. But yeah, he's right. If it stays standing, Damian Maia's hands have improved, but they're not at the level of a Condit or a Lawler, right? So yeah, Condit better hope it stays standing, man. That's all I'm saying. Anyway. All right. Moving on to the next little point here. GSP. I don't know if you're a GSP, like a big GSP fan or not. Are you?
I am.
Yeah. All right. So GSP says he's returning. He said it himself. He's returning. Looking at Michael Bisping. He's joking around about being able to fight Conor McGregor at 155 or whatever. Yeah, sure. But no, not happening. I highly doubt it. But here's a surprising one. Now RDA came out and said, hey, I want to fight GSP. He's my idol. I want to fight him, right? But the one that caught me off guard a little bit was Jacare. Jacare called him a chicken. I was just like, Jacare's talking shit. First of all, someone tell Jacare that he needs to be better at talking trash if he's going to talk trash. He's awful. Oh, he's a chicken. That's the best you got. Like, really, he's a chicken. That's the best you got. Have you seen GSP's fights? I don't think he's a chicken.
Yeah.
Chill the hell out, but Jacare called him a chicken. So now we have three possible, or at least two possible opponents for GSP. We got with Lawler or the champion at 170, which would be just a mess at 170 again. But let's just say two possible ones. We got Michael Bisping and we got Jacare. First of all, which one do you prefer to see and which one do you think actually happens?
I hope that it's Bisping, just because they've both been around. I'm not saying they've both been in the UFC for so long. I think it would be more of a story if
Yeah.
they could dub it as Bisping's been here since '05, GSP's been here since '04, something along those lines. Like they could dub it as that. And as much as I'd like to see Jacko here as well, it's just so it would be so much more of a story.
Yeah.
And I think GSP's really bad handling trash talk would make it amazing as well.
Dude, GSP is awful at handling and awful because he gets like I've never seen anybody get under his skin. Like Dan Hardy, back in the day, Dan Hardy said, I'm gonna slap the tan off of him, which is still one of my favorite lines in the history of MMA trash talk. Like that made me a Dan Hardy fan. And people remember people hated Dan Hardy back then. People hated Dan Hardy. And I was a huge fan. I was like, wait, what'd he say? He said, yes, go Dan Hardy. Whoop his ass, Dan. And watching that fight was just, sad. But still, like I was just like, yes. And then nobody got him though, like Nick Diaz did. Like Nick Diaz went off on him before the fight, after, during the fight, after the fight, and GSP was livid. Like at that press conference, like you never seen GSP pick up the microphone and start yelling at his opponent. I was like, dude. So GSP against Bisping, I like Bisping. And a lot of people don't. I like Bisping. I've always liked Bisping because, like, he talks. He sounds like he's talking trash, and he probably is. Just trying to get under their skin. But he really believes what he's saying. You know what I mean? Like before the Rockhold fight, he said, he was talking about Rockhold, and then after the fight, he said it again. He's like, no, dude, that's for real. Yeah, I really believe that. Yeah, fuck that guy. Like, so it's a trip. I would rather see GSP Bisping as well. You're right, because more of a story. But I do want to see GSP take on somebody who has a lot of heart, has a really good stand-up game, and I mean we haven't seen a lot of Bisping's wrestling, but GSP's wrestling is ridiculous, and his jiu-jitsu is ridiculous as well. So it'd be a crazy fight. I don't know. GSP at 170, it seems possible. Obviously, he can make the weight. We've seen him do it, but I kind of want to see him against 185ers now, just to see what he can do against guys bigger than him. All right. All right, moving on here. RDA also said he wants to fight GSP, which is possible, but I think GSP would just clown him and destroy him, in my opinion. But now here's the thing about RDA. He's talking about, I want to fight GSP. What else he was talking? He was talking about he wants to fight Robbie Lawler. And we're talking about two fights that will make him a lot of money. If you remember, RDA was supposed to fight Conor McGregor. He was going to get paid. All right. He gets injured, pulls out of the fight. Nate Diaz gets that payday. That fight is so crazy. They make Diaz McGregor too. Okay. RDA missed out on an insane amount of money. So now he's scrambling, trying to come up with a fight that's going to get him paid and keep him relevant. And now he's fighting on Fight Pass, which, by the way, the only reason that fight's on Fight Pass, that Eddie Alvarez RDA fight, is to promote Fight Pass. And it makes complete sense, right? But to the uneducated combat sports fan, it's funny because they're shit talking RDA like, oh, dude, you're such an awful champ. They're putting you on Fight Pass. Like, I mean, I don't know. My opinion, RDA is pissed about missing that money. What do you think about that, man? Like, RDA trying to talk, and not only him, but all these fighters, Jacare start talking shit. Misha Tate is talking trash, okay? What the hell? Like, what is this trash talk thing? Do you think this trash talk is good or bad for the sport?
I think it's good for eyes. It's bad for the sport. I think, it's good for broadcasting. It's good for new fans. It's good for all that. But if that's the sacrifice, I don't want that sacrifice. If that's what you get in return, is the WWE lot. I've said it with my dad all these times as well. And as much as I love every now and then is when there is a new like a McGregor type or a Lesnar type or a Summon type like that. I love that. That's great. But I don't want whole divisions of people that just want to talk up their fight. Like it takes it away from the actual the good fights and the people that can actually practice. I think I think you just get saturated when you do have at the moment we have the legends, we have Chael Sonnen, we have Conor McGregor, we have all these amazing people. I think the more people start trying to tackle, who was it who recently started trying to tackle and it's really bad. can't bloody remember who it is now, but it was just really embarrassing. It was just so, you can get paid, just negotiate pay-per-view numbers, fight well enough that you end up on a pay-per-view, and then you'll get a portion of McGregor and you get a portion of the other people. Like, I don't want the division at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and on YouTube we got a commenter, my boy Fang, saying trash talk good or bad for the sport. 2 words, Chael Sonnen. Good point. Here's the difference, okay? Chael Sonnen talked trash, but he backed it up. That fight against Anderson Silva, he was seconds away from being champ. The fight against John Jones, all right, John Jones's toe was destroyed. He was literally like a doctor's look at that toe away from being champion. It was just, Sonnen backed it up. It's true. McGregor backs it up for the most part. Now, losing to Nate Diaz was bad for him because he talked all that trash for the fight. He was saying like, I forgot there was an interview that he did with somebody, and the interviewer asked him, he goes, "You're stepping up 25 pounds to fight Nate Diaz," and McGregor cuts him off, and he says, "And I'm still gonna make it look easy." And I'm like, what the like? Are we talking about the same Nate Diaz? The same Nate Diaz that's super long, has really good striking, and is a ridiculously high black belt in jiu-jitsu, and has underrated wrestling. That Nate Diaz? Because if you talk about that Nate Diaz, I hate to break it to you, dude, it's gonna be a lot harder than you think. And him. Who else talks a lot of trash? And, like I said, Chael Sonnen backs it up. Conor McGregor for the most part backs it up. Now in this thing, he loses the second fight against Nate Diaz. He's going to have to shut up. Like that shit's over. But I like fighters that back it up. Now, here's why I think it's good and bad trash talk for the sport of MMA. Not martial arts. Martial arts is different. Trash talk in martial arts is overall frowned upon, I think. I've been to jiu-jitsu tournaments, and it's, if someone's, trash talking and mean mugging and trying to intimidate their opponent, it's normally looked down, frowned upon, for the most part, right? Now in MMA is a different animal. Obviously, you're trying to sell fights, you're trying to get people to buy pay-per-views and all that. And so as far as good for promotion, yes. For the sport itself, I mean, we're in a weird spot, man, where things are changing. The UFC might be selling. Who knows what's going to happen there? Everyone wants to make more money. Conor McGregor, to his credit, has shown that you can put yourself in a spot to make a ridiculous amount of money. And so, now everyone's doing hell. Beto Belfort. The phrase "money fight." The phrase "money fight" was created during the McGregor era, or during the McGregor come up, right? And Beto Belfort just came out the other day saying, "I'm interested in fighting Anderson Silva again. It'd be a money fight." The term "money fight" is because of a guy like McGregor, a guy like Chael Sonnen, even a guy like Nick Diaz. Even though the Diaz brothers rarely got credit until Nate beat Conor McGregor. Now the Diaz brothers are legit and they're superstars. The only reason you didn't like them is because it's almost like you were told to not like them. It's really weird. It's a weird fucking dynamic. But trash talk is, it's just, I don't know. I enjoy it. I like funny people. Chael Sonnen was hilarious. Conor McGregor, for the most part, was hilarious. Nate Diaz is real. Like, it's hard. I don't know if you saw the press conference before the fight, the like last second makeshift one in California, where they were like in like some kind of little gym, and Conor McGregor had, look at Conor McGregor. It felt like he like pre-wrote his lines, and Nate Diaz responded with just "fuck you, I don't give a fuck, fuck you." Yeah. It's like, and then the other one where he was like, dude, who are you training with? You're playing touchback in the park with that dork with a ponytail, dude. I fell over when he said that. But here's the difference. He meant that shit. Like it was so fucking funny. So it's just weird, man. How everything's changing now to where, if you can fight back up your trash talk, you can make some money. So, Jacare talking trash to say about GSP. If they make that fight, GSP creams them, Jacare got to forget English or, language at all. He's got to forget every language he knows. I don't think he speaks English, but he's got to forget every language he knows at this point. You can't talk anymore, dude. You need to shut up and just fight and try to make yourself bigger that way. But is what it is. All right. Moving on here. Ooh. All right. Yeah. BJ Penn, man. BJ Penn gets suspended 6 months for IV use. First of all, and actually, I forgot, and I hate to do it. I can't remember his Twitter handle. He's a guy I talk to all the time on Twitter. But I said on Twitter that I don't mind BJ Penn getting suspended because I hope he rethinks fighting. Okay. Every time I think of BJ Penn, I think of all his great fights. Anytime I hear BJ Penn, wanting to fight again, I think BJ Penn against Frankie Edgar, and how every BJ Penn fan for sure shed a tear that night. That was sad as hell to watch. And now he wants to fight GSP. Like, BJ Penn against GSP. Like, we know how that's going to go. Like, Like, dude, what are you doing? But what do you think about BJ Penn? First of all, suspension, and second of all, what do you think about BJ Penn wanting to fight again?
Yeah, I think the suspension, especially the fact that all he's done for years is call fight pussies for using IV, and then get popped for it. Like troublemaker, like you're a bit hypocritical. But once again, that's just his personality all over. He's always like that. As much as I love him, like he's very contradictory. Like he chats a lot of shit, and then he says that he's lovely, and then he says that other people are horrible, and then he's being horrible, and yeah. So yeah, I think he needs to not call fighters pussies anymore for wanting to use IP. And then yeah, the whole GSP thing I'm going to do on that. I think 5 years ago, it's 4 or 5 years ago. There's nothing wrong with his record being like 18 and 11 or whatever, or 18 and 10 or something along those lines. But I think the more we still thought you were one of the greatest of all time, even though you weren't 28 and 0 or 28 and 1 or whatever. But I think just the more he tries to fight, and the more he does that, it's just going to tarnish his legacy. And it's like my dad says with Robert De Niro. Every bad film you make now is taken away from every good film you made 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. And same thing with DJ. Every bad fight you have now is taken away from the legendary status that you proved, 8-9 years ago. So.
Yeah, look, I mean, fight fans' memories are so short, man. Like we're about to see DC against John Jones. Okay, Daniel Cormier defending against John Jones. And people still remember the dominant John Jones that has a nasty spinning elbow where he barely turns his body. He just lands that thing. The what do they call them? Those I call them dirty kicks. But what do they call that shit? God damn, I keep. Yeah. And then stuff like that. But they still remember the dominant John Jones that just doesn't lose to anybody, right? If John Jones loses to DC somehow at UFC 200, okay. Our memories are so short, okay, that when we hear about John Jones fighting again later on after that fight, people are going to be like, oh, John Jones sucks, right? And we're going to be like, we're going to be sitting here going, the hell are you talking about? But yeah, he lost against DC, but did you see every other fight before that? Dude's still good, but it's just, it's right. What you do now could affect what you did before. And to talk about legacy, to talk about, what are you going to be remembered by, or and all sorts of stuff. It's a weird thing, but it's geez, I don't know. I'm not a huge I don't like casual fans a lot because of that shit like that. You know what I mean? I had one guy telling me, I was at a bar watching I forgot which card it was, but it was for when Frank Yeager knocked out Chad Mendes. Before the fight started, people were at the bar just talking back and forth. Who you picking? And I was like, oh, I got Frankie. They're like, you got Frankie? That guy loses all the time. He sucks. And I'm like, excuse me? We talking about saying Frankie? Like Frankie Edgar? Like Frank Mir, I'll give you. Frank Mir, he's kind of done. All right. It's kind of over for Frank Mir. I get it. But Frankie Edgar, have you seen a fight? Like, do you know who we're talking about? 30 seconds later, he comes out and knocks out Chad Mendes, and I'm like, does he still suck, motherfucker? Like, does he still suck? Like, it's. I don't like casual fans. With those kind of casual fans. The other fans that are open-minded and want to learn, all for it.
Like you said, people have very, very short-term memories. They forget, and I hate to bring it back. I won't do it too often, but with Thai boxing, you can have 50 losses. And you can have more losses than who's that American dude with like 150 MMA fights? Not.
I don't know.
Jeremy Horn? No. It might be Jeremy Horn. It has like tons and tons of fights, and so you can have that many losses in one fight, and you would still be an absolute legend. And it's just the mentality of MMA. You need more people that are like, right, I'm going to follow you no matter what. Like you can lose 4 times in a row. I mean, if you get knocked out 4 times in a row, I might say, I'd rather be a help than an entertainment. But it's frustrating, and you see it especially on Twitter. Oh my god, all over Twitter, just shit talking all the time. Like you won 5 straight like 2 years ago, and you didn't lose 2 in a row, and then they're bucked.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, man. Actually, we have a question for us on Twitter. On Twitter, on YouTube. Fang's asking, I have a question. Yeah, Fang says, I got a question for y'all. Forrest Griffin versus Chael Sonnen, both in their prime. Who wins? Forrest Griffin against Chael Sonnen. I like Chael in that fight, dude. I really do. I like Chael Sonnen in that fight. Yeah. I look, a big fan of Forrest Griffin, but I really like Chael in that fight. I think that fight would go to the ground so fast, it wouldn't even, it'd just be just a wrestling elbow in the face clinic. What else we got? And then he says, Koscheck wants to fight GSP again. First of all, Koscheck just pulled out of a Bellator fight, okay? Let's forget about Koscheck ever fighting in the UFC or a guy named GSP ever again. Like, until he fights at least like 18 times in Bellator, and that's not going to happen either. He's going to pull out of 19, or he's going to pull out of 17 out of 18 fights at least, okay? And look, all respect to Koscheck, right? When he was fighting in the UFC, when he was in his prime, he was a bad dude. You wanted to see Koscheck fight. And again, one of those trash talkers, but he did it early and he meant it. And you respected that. Yeah. And you respected his trash talk for the most part because he meant that shit. And he did it before it was to make, before it was to sell fights. That was just when you were an asshole. Like, he was just an asshole and he like talking shit. And that's just how honest he was about it, right? But so much damage that he's taken, so many knockouts, so much, time. And, I'm not for telling a guy he should retire. I will give my opinion on whether I believe they should, cut it down at least for the only time I'll ever say someone should retire is for health reasons, right? When Chuck Liddell was still at his last couple fights, I was like, please stop, dude. Like, you've taken so much damage, just stop. BJ Penn, like I said, like this one dude on Twitter got a little upset with me. He's a big BJ Penn fan, but he was upset with me because I said, I'm done with BJ, man. I don't want to see him fight anymore. I don't want to see him fight. I wasn't saying he should retire. I wasn't like, hey, BJ, retire. You should do it. Not at all. I believe none of us can do that, and none of us should be like, hey, BJ, you need to retire. Like, retire. I'm a big fan of, please, I wish he would retire because I don't want to see him get hurt more and spend the rest of his years, all due respect and rest in peace, Muhammad Ali. But we all saw what happened with Muhammad Ali. He fought way too long. And part of it's the 3 years that he missed when he was, suspended in boxing for not going to Vietnam. But we saw the rest of his life, man. A man put in that much work. He was considered one of the best ever. And he spends the rest of his life having to be taken care of. Like, that's a prime to me. That's the example I think of when I say, please stop fighting. Chuck Liddell, BJ Penn, Josh Koscheck, you can throw him in there now. Chris Lieben, you know what I mean? Guys like that, I'm like, please stop. I don't want to see you live the rest of your life in just awful circumstances and bad health and all that. So I don't know. What do you think about that? About that kind of thing? I mean, do you? I don't know. I know. I'm sure you do. But I mean, do you look at fighters and you think about their health and like, hey, man, please stop. Like, I don't want to see you be jacked up.
Yeah, like regularly as well. Like almost like I do when it's one knockout. I'm like, oh god, like please don't take a fight too soon, or please don't get back and spar hard and training like 2 months later. Like, because a lot of them do. They just have that mentality where they think they just want to put their all in, no matter what. They're a warrior, and once again, I commend that. But then I'd also I'd rather you have your faculties up than than just be a vegetable. Like you mentioned, the MMA guys like Peter Up, kickboxer. He's not like John, but he's been knocked out like 14 times, I think, over like his entire career, like kickboxing, a few MMA fights and Muay Thai, and God knows how many times in sparring. And he's like basically training like Golden Joy or my heroes in the Netherlands, but they went hard a lot. And it's the same thing. It's just like I just don't. Right now, you might not be showing the effects, but who knows? Like in 10 years' time, when all your money's run out, when you haven't got any money to fall back on, you haven't been smart with it. You're not taught in school how to be famous and how to deal with money when you're famous. Mm-hmm. And it won't affect you until that money's gone, and then how you will deal with it then. And yeah, it's the same thing. Like, I don't want to tell someone to retire, but I wish their doctors. And I wish they'd listen to that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's at some point, you know, you're right. That money, and in MMA especially, and boxing, again, Muhammad Ali made a lot of money when he, you know, at the end of his career, because people want to see Muhammad Ali fight. Hell, he was like inactive, retired for 2 years, and he came back to fight, and he got paid a lot of money for that fight. It was hard to turn that down. You know, the only guys like these days MMA that could probably retire and be fine the rest of their life are fighters like Conor McGregor, John Jones, probably. Ronda Rousey could probably retire right now and be fine. She's got that fighting money and Hollywood money. You know, it's very few fighters that could retire and live the rest of their life just taking it easy without a problem, right? But you know, let's say a Carlos Condit. I don't know how much money he makes. You know what I mean? But a Carlos Condit fights too long, retires. One day that money might be done if he's not smart about it. Chris Lieben, who you know, we've seen him do some stuff for money. It's crazy. Who's the other guy? Mayhem Miller is fighting or trying to fight at Bellator because he's got no money. Like it's insane, right? We're not in a sport where you're gonna make so much money that you can risk getting just blasted and then live the rest of your life, you know, being taken care of and have the money to do it. At least it's trippy, man. So that's why I was the first one to say, please, BJ, stop doing it. You know, so it's one of those things, man. And then Mike Jarvis on YouTube saying Koscheck already sold that fight. He needs to step up to the plate now and fight Semtex. Paul Daly. Minion on YouTube says Koscheck needs to man up and face Semtex Daly before challenging anyone else. Look, Koscheck would fight Paul Daly if he could, but he keeps getting injured. So he needs to get healthy and then fight Daly, because I don't think it's because he's scared of Daly. I legit think he's like, because he's always had injury issues, but I legit think it's because he's hurt. But I honestly, I think I don't know. I'm done with Koscheck too. He's one of those guys. He needs to just relax, dude, and you know, run your gym and live comfortable as you can without having some kind of like, you know, like brain damage. Which I'm sure he does at this point, but if not, most fighters do. But you know, stop trying to get more. All right, and let's see a couple more things here. Will Brooks signs with the UFC. You know Will Brooks, right, from Bellator? Yeah, signs with the UFC. I'm excited about that. Gets Ross Pearson next week. Okay, he signed last week, and he gets Ross Pearson next week. And by the way, he's a favorite. Not Ross Pearson. Will Brooks is the favorite in that fight, supposedly pretty heavily. So I mean, I get it. That's a respect factor for sure for Will Brooks. But Will Brooks in the UFC, you know, how do you think he does? Because we've seen him in Bellator, where I forgot. I think he fought. I think it was Michael Chandler. He fought. And people were he was an underdog. People were doubting him, and he won that fight. And it was just like, whoa, okay, who's this Will Brooks guy, right? And he wins more, you know, defends his belt, whatever. And now he's in the UFC. Now he's gonna fight, you know, Ross Pearson. What do you think? What do you think is coming for Will Brooks?
I think Ross Pearson isn't the greatest fighter of all time, but I think they could have handed him someone a bit more of a tune-up type thing. We've seen it a couple of times. Like, who did Eddie Alvarez fight first? Was it Cerrone's first UFC fight?
Oh man, he lost it. I think it was Cerrone. I'll find out real quick.
Yeah, he lost it, and you see when they come in, when Bellator fighters come in, like they are. I don't want to be a UFC fanboy, but you see the caliber difference. Like really see the caliber difference. But I have really high hopes for Will Brooks. I rate him highly, and I like him. I think he might be able to deal with Ross Pearson, especially because Ross Pearson, like most Brits, has never really been disrespected.
Yeah. And Eddie Alvarez did fight against Donald Cerrone and lost by decision. So, but I agree with you. It's not a fanboy thing at all as far as UFC goes. It's just the caliber of fighters that the UFC is able to sign. You know, it's the difference between being on possible pay-per-view cards and being on Spike TV, where weirdly enough, the events are in the West Coast of the US, okay, but they're only live in the East Coast, and then in the West Coast, like 4 hours after they started. You know what I mean? It's the reason I don't watch Bellator live. But whenever I watch Bellator, what's that?
You get a tape delay for Bellator,
Yeah. The West Coast gets picked
on that time.
Right. The West Coast gets tape delay. The East Coast gets it live. But the fights are going on in the West Coast for the most part. It's the weirdest thing. It's the dumbest thing, really. But It's a reason I don't watch Bellator live almost ever, because I'll get the results and then I'll look up the fight individually on YouTube or something and I'll watch it, but I've rarely watched Bellator live. It's I don't like how they do it, but there really is a clear difference in talent, right? So it makes complete sense what you're saying. And I think Ross Pearson, like you said, is not the greatest fighter in the UFC, but he's also not like a buster either. He's not a guy that's going to be easily walked over. I think Will Brooks is going to have a tough fight. I still think he wins, but I think it's going to be a very tough fight for Will Brooks. And look, man, he was what I heard, he was in tears almost when he signed with the UFC. So very happy for the guy, and I hope everything works out for him for sure. All right, man. Let's last thing here. Let's actually make some picks for this weekend. Obviously this weekend, 3 cards: UFC Vegas, Tough 23 finale, and obviously UFC 200. At least one title fight on each card. First one, a UFC Fight Pass only, is UFC Vegas. It's Thursday, July 7th. The prelims kick off at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. Really, the biggest fight to talk about on that card: RDA versus Eddie Alvarez. RDA is a guy who, well, the way he beat Anthony Pettis was to be in his face and to pressure. But every time he pressured, he caused major damage, right? Eddie Alvarez is a similar kind of fighter, but he's more of a pressure in your face, get you to the ground, and punish you on the ground as much as he can. It's a weird fight, but who are you picking in that?
I'm a really, really big fan of Eddie Alvarez, and I just love his mentality, and I love that Philadelphia, like, just that sort of, he's not brash, like he's just really, really confident, and he's not loud, he's not like, he's just supremely confident, and I really like that about him. But yeah, in terms of the fight, I think they're essentially mirrors of each other. Like they like pressure, they like straight punches, they like to push you against the cage. And I think it's going to be not dirty, but it's going to be a brawl. I'm hoping.
Yeah, dude, Eddie, I'm with him, man. I'm a big fan of Eddie Alvarez. The guy can take damage, and give it back just as well. And the thing is, I don't think RDA wants a brawl. I think he knows if he gets into a brawl with Eddie Alvarez, he's begging for like a Diego Sanchez type of fight, which nobody wants anymore. Well, nobody that fights wants anymore. We all love it. Diego Sanchez on the card, fuck yeah, I'm watching. That dude's insane, But Eddie Alvarez he's just so tough. He's just an incredibly tough fighter. Tons of heart out of that guy. You're right. That Philadelphia brass, the confidence, the toughness. He almost brings that kind of bravado where it's like you want to beat me, you're gonna have to kill me, almost. And RDA had, look, people want to say whatever they want. A lot of RDA fans are like, oh, it's not gonna be a problem. RDA's gonna knock him out. Yeah, good luck with that. All right, Eddie Alvarez is super tough, and I'm picking Eddie Alvarez to win that fight. I think to me, it's gonna be, if it's not a brawl, it's gonna be a grind out, like just smash fest as far as on the ground. I think on the ground goes, but I'm picking Eddie Alvarez to be the new champion, and I really hope it happens. I'm a big fan, so I would love for that to happen. Yeah. All right, on the next card, of course, is a Tough 23 finale. It's the only fight to talk about, really, besides Will Brooks and Ross Pearson, which we already talked about, is Joanna Jędrzejczyk against Claudia Gadelha. I actually got to see their first fight live, right, in Phoenix. Yeah. UFC on Fox 13 was in Phoenix, Arizona. I actually got to go to the fight. It was awesome. Watching it live, I picked Claudia Gadelha to win. I thought she won that fight. It was just super close. And Joanna wins it. In fact, maybe like 45 minutes to an hour after the fight ended, she came out. She was all dressed up and not all purple in the face and shit, but she came out all dressed up one night and sat next to Dana White the rest of the card. Yeah, it was cool to see. Honestly, I was like, "Is that Joanna right there?" Oh shit! She's like, she hugs Dana White, sits next to him. They're just hanging out, talking about the fight that's going on. I think it was like a Stipe against Stipe against JDS, and it was a crazy fight to see live. And then watching the replay later, I still thought Claudia Gadelha won that fight. But now we get a rematch. You get who I think is a better fighter than Claudia Gadelha, or better than she used to be fighter. She's definitely improved in that fight, or in her career. And just in the last few fights, I've seen her improve a lot. And then Joanna, who's still a killer. It's gonna be to me, it's just a crazy fight once again. Who are you picking in that one?
I've always been a fan of Joanna. Like I didn't watch her when she fought Muay Thai, but I've watched her now that I know that she used to do Muay Thai, and like you develop, like you just see how savage she is.
Yeah.
I love that style. Like she just batters. Like, it's not often you watch a fight and you feel bad for the opponent because you go, well, the opponent will be doing it to them. They have. But with Joanna, no matter what, I'm like, oh, I just want to turn away. I feel sorry for you. I'm like, but then Cloud is ridiculously tough as well. And first fight is anything to like go by. I think, yeah, Joanna's into some trouble if she doesn't stop her. So, but
Yeah,
I'm picking Joanna.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the edge on that one, man. I like Claudia Gadelha in this fight, but it's just hard to pick against Joanna. It really is hard because she's just like you're saying, it's just crazy, man. If you can't take her out, and it's funny. She hits you like 15 times before you hit her once. Like she's that quick and that fast. And if Claudia thinks she's gonna stand up with her the entire time, she's dead wrong. Like Claudia better hope she could take her ass down so fast. Because Joanna will get in, pop, and then Claudia will swing and miss on one. She's that kind of fighter. Joanna's that quick and that fast. So, it's hard for me to pick. I think if it goes to the ground, I don't remember seeing Claudia on her back very long. I think she's got, if I remember correctly, she's got decent takedown defense, but not a lot of people would try to take her down. So it's kind of weird. Claudia's definitely gonna try for sure. I mean, I don't see how she wouldn't or why she wouldn't. But I think it'll be weird, man. And I think I'm gonna pick the underdog and put Claudia in this one just because I want to see if she can put Joanna. She did the first fight. She put her in some deep water. I want to see if Joanna can face that adversity again and get out of that, because this is a more confident and more dangerous Claudia Gadelha. And I think it's gonna be great, dude. I can't wait for that fight. Honestly, that's one of my favorite fights of the entire weekend. This one right here. So
especially after this tough season going as well. I missed like the last 2 episodes. So just seeing Claudia, like how she like deals with everything. You can tell she gets a bit emotional, but she is so like calm about it. Like she knows how to handle it. And I think a lot of people like Jessica Finay and Cara Sparza and those people, like they didn't like the fact that Joanna was so like shoving the belt in their face, like I'm the champion, deal with it, I'm going to get out of you. And Claudia's just not phased by that. She just wants the belt. So, yeah, I like the mentality.
Yeah, no, Joanna's got that thing, man. And it was funny because it's like, I think I've only watched like 2 or 3 episodes of Tough this season, but whenever her and Claudia get into it, Claudia will say something and Joanna will just like, yeah, is that right? Yeah. And in her head, she's like, all right, motherfucker, we're going to fight again. Please believe I'm gonna remember all the shit you just said when we fight again. I believe it's gonna happen. Like, so I like how she handles that stuff too, for sure. Mike Jarvis here on YouTube saying Claudia is a jiu-jitsu black belt and couldn't do anything to JJ on the ground. Joanna practically knocked her out. Very true. In that first fight, she couldn't do anything to her on the ground, and a lot. I don't know what you could attribute that to, other than Joanna's a beast. So it's tough. All right. Next fight here we could talk about, of course, again, Ultimate Fighter finale is on Friday, July 8th, and that one kicks off on Fox Sports 1, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific time. And of course, I think there's one more episode of Tough, so I don't think we're not gonna get that full card until Wednesday, I think. So I guess keep tuned for that. And of course, UFC 200 going down next Saturday. It's supposed to be Nate Diaz against McGregor too. McGregor doesn't like flying to doing media apparently, so he bailed. And Nate Diaz is like, all right, I don't give a shit. And they make that fight for later on in the year. But on this card, we have 4 big fights, and they're all on the main card. Start off with the first one at featherweight. We get Frankie Edgar against Jose Aldo Jr. for the featherweight interim title, which I still find weird that Conor McGregor hasn't defended it, but that's for another day. What do you think about Frankie Edgar against Jose Aldo? Yeah, against Jose Aldo. In the first fight, it was actually pretty close. I believe it was a decision fight too, and Jose ended up winning that. And Frankie Edgar was kind of on the tear. Knocking out Chad Mendes to me was huge, right? And Chad Mendes against Jose Aldo, we've seen those fights already. But Frankie Edgar, I think, comes in here and we're gonna find out what Jose has left. They're getting knocked out by Conor. We've seen fighters get KO'd and come back as a shell themselves. So, what do you think about this fight? Who are you picking?
can I not have a pick in this one? I'm such an Aldo fan. I'm such a Frankie fan, and it's like I'm hoping that Aldo hasn't lost anything. He's still got. But then you see the love. You see like the past say 2 years, sort of 2014 to when he got buried by McGregor, and you see his performances. Before that he was rocking everyone left, right, and centre. He was, flying me in Cub Swanson in WEC and doing horrible things to him. But then you see, 2014 to 2016, and you think, if he goes up against, Frankie Edgar, he's clearly still got fire in him. I think he could be in for a really, really tough night.
Yeah, man. I think Frankie's due, but I like Frank in that fight. But again, if Jose wins, I won't be upset at all to see a rematch with Conor if he ever defends his belt. Yeah, I don't know. Jose Aldo, I'm just excited to see what he has left, right? Because I want to see if that knockout changed him permanently, or if it was the same guy, or he even got better. We've seen fighters do that before too. All right, moving on. Next fight. I don't know why this fight's happening. I don't think Amanda Nunes did enough, even close to enough to earn a title shot, but I guess she's the only one left to give it to. I would have gone with the Holly Holm rematch personally, but whatever. Amanda Nunes against Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate, of course, basically was losing that fight against Holly Holm, and then went just guts out for that takedown, takes her back. Holly Holm breaks the number one rule of rear naked chokes. Instead of fighting the hands, she fought the position right away. All right, and she got choked out. Props to her, by the way, though, for going out. And she went out punching. She was not going to attack. She's like, fuck that. You got to take my belt from my lifeless body. She went out punching. She's out, right? On a side note, Conor McGregor tapped like that. But, and literally minutes later. But, Amanda Nunes is, to me, I don't see her as a threat to Miesha. I think Misha's going to take her down, just beat her up. What do you think?
Yeah, I reckon it's going to go down that way. I think they didn't necessarily give Miesha the fight, to give us something easy in the interim before, Holly's back and she's the right to fight and Ronnie's back and she's the right to fight and really such things. But I think they did give us someone who they thought, Miesha can, she'll probably just take her down and either wrestle her easily to fight round or to submit her in the second, third round. I think, I can't see it going any other way than especially she's on that, she's on such a high now. Like, she's wanted that belt for so long, and she's lost to Ronda and all that. She finally got it. I can't see anyone taking it away apart from Holly coming back for revenge, or Ronda, which is obviously a kryptonite. So I think you put a fairly clear cut one for the case.
Yeah, Mike Jarvis doesn't agree with us at all. He says Miesha tries on YouTube. Says Miesha tries to stand up when Nunes gets knocked out. I don't think she will. But then again, we never really see Miesha get knocked out and actually get laid out. I mean, she gets dropped and she pops right back up. So we'll find out. You know what? I think, and I said this a long time ago. I said Miesha should change her nickname to like Zombie Cupcake or some shit like that, because she gets dropped and just pops back up to where you're like, holy shit! Like I've seen her get head kick dropped. I've seen her get dropped with punches, dropped with body shots, and she does not stop. She just comes back up. So yeah, so I don't know about Nunes knocking her out, but we'll see. All right, next fight up, of course, the co-main event, which came out of nowhere, got a reporter banned, and then he cried for 2 hours on YouTube and got unbanned for some fucking reason, and then and then took Miesha Tate's and Amanda Nunes's co-main spot. It's Brock Lesnar returning to take on Mark Hunt. It's classic, grappler versus striker, for the most part, striker matchup. A lot of people, look, there's a ridiculous amount of people saying Brock Lesnar's going to win. Because we saw Brock Lesnar, Mark Hunt get taken down by Stipe and get, pummeled. And, it's Stipe Miocic, yeah, but still pummeled. And then Brock Lesnar's All-American. Yeah, he's as legit as they come. Even from WWE, he's still legit as they come as far as a combat sports guy coming from that company is, or from that world is. Meanwhile, a lot of people also say Mark Hunt's going to knock him out because Brock Lesnar doesn't like to get punched, and that's very true. He hates getting punched, right? So it's a weird fight. It's hard for me to pick, man, but I almost always go with the experience and someone that's been more active. And Brock Lesnar's been gone a minute, and Mark Hunt's been knocking 2-3 guys out during that time. So I'm taking Mark Hunt in that fight. I still think it's going to be a long fight, and Brock Lesnar's going to want to take him down and ground and pound him. But it's weird. It's a weird fight. It's weird to see Brock Lesnar back. A lot of people are excited. I was like, okay, whatever. But I was like, all right, let's see. Mark Hunt knocks him out now. So I'm picking Mark Hunt by knockout. Who you got in that one?
Yeah, I'm picking Mark Hunt by knockout. Like a lot of people are, I guess. Just, yeah, like you said, just you got not too clued up on like college wrestling in America, but I'm guessing like people who won proper college wrestler. Is it NCAA? Is that what it is?
Right, he was All-American for sure.
Yeah, and like and a lot of the people just assume that he's just a WWE, entertainment wrestler when he can actually smash people as a wrestler. But yeah, it's the typical. It's like UFC 1, like quite enough. You've got Mark Hunt who hasn't really invested any time in this, and yet Brock Lesnar looks like he really far. When he gets hit, he sort of does that, that type of thing where his eyes are hurt and his face sort of turns to the side. And it's when you have a wrestler of that caliber against a K1, GP heavyweight champion, like it's gonna go down in brutal fashion. But I'm rooting for Mark Hunt. I think he can, on a good day, he can knock out anyone on the planet. I think it'll just be Brock going in for a double or something, and it'll just be a walk up with that KO, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. This is one of those fights where I'm like, look, I don't mind that they made it. And Mike Jarvis made that point on YouTube on the comments saying it's heavyweight, it's unpredictable. It's very true. Like we just talked about it right now. Either Brock could take him down and ground and pound him for 5 rounds or whatever's good, 3 rounds and win, or Mark Hunt can get another one of his walk-off knockouts and basically shut Brock Lesnar up real quick. So we'll find that out in literally just a few days. All right, main event, of course. It's supposed to be Nate Diaz against Conor McGregor Part 2, and instead we get a fight that's almost maybe not as huge, but as far as like overall, but still pretty big. The return of John Jones, at least returning to try and get his belt back or get his belt back, depending on who you talk to. John Jones against DC Part 2. The first fight, it was a lot of John Jones just trying to prove, it was almost like he was toying with DC a little bit to me. Because DC was like, I could take you down whenever. And he didn't take him down till like damn near the end of the fight. And John Jones took him down a bunch of times. In fact, it was the first time that DC got taken down in a fight. So it was weird. I would say if I had to put a split on it, it's like 90-10 people believe John Jones getting his belt back. You know what I mean? And it's hard to pick against that. Just the John Jones. No, again, here's where I think Daniel Cormier has a chance. Okay. And I'm picking John Jones. I'm saying it right now. I'm picking John Jones. But this is where I think Daniel Cormier has a chance. If the John Jones that fought against Ovin St. Preux in this last fight shows up, please believe Daniel Cormier is going to be happy and he's going to pound him to shit. Okay? Because OSP, like, that was a weird fight. That was a weird John Jones to me. It was a weird John Jones to see. But it was supposed to be, I think, who was it supposed to be? Rumble Johnson? No, it was supposed to be somebody else.
What the Jones fight after DC?
Yeah, OSP came in on late notice. I can't remember who was supposed to fight them.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember.
No. Oh, no. Yeah, wasn't DC got injured?
It was who?
Wasn't he supposed to be fighting with this? Yeah. Instead of over sent through, wasn't that supposed to be the fight with Daniel Cormier, but then Cormier got injured?
Oh yeah. DC pulled out. You're right. Okay, makes sense. Yeah. Okay, you're right. So DC pulled out. OSP came in last second. So 2 different type of fighters, really, very different type of fighters, to be honest. And OSP much like way less experienced than Daniel Cormier, and John Jones still had what I think was a hard time with him. You know what I mean? So we'll see, man. But again, if that John Jones fight OSP comes in to fight DC, I wouldn't put it past DC to win that fight by decision. But I don't know. What do you think about this fight? Who you got winning?
I don't usually bet on someone to lose because of their personality. But I really just like John Jones. I don't care how many hours I bloody hate the guy. I think anyone, especially the whole with the Ryan Zimmer thing, Jordan Carson thing, stuff like that, and then the fact that it wasn't a hit and run, but the fact that everyone can forget about that John Jones, but you know, they can be crying, essentially crying and really upset over Ryan Dimmo, and then the next week he's cheering for John Jones after he could have ended someone's life exactly like someone could have ended Ryan Dimmo's life. And so I don't like to say, oh, I want to see them lose, but I really like. I think it's just the typical like good versus evil thing. And I see Daniel Cormier with the Halo and John Jones with the bloody trident. And I'm really hoping Daniel Cormier doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, look, here's the thing. I was kind of on that too. I was like, I never liked John Jones before because to me, John Jones seemed really fake. I'm like, there's something not right about this guy, and nobody saw it until those interviews were leaked, right? Remember during ESPN, they had them in different rooms. You know, the two squares on the TV and whatnot, and in between interviews, all right, they were talking to each other. You've never heard John Jones call. You know, he called Daniel Cormier a pussy. He's like, "You still there, pussy? Still there, pussy?" And all that stuff. He was talking like that. But you know, when they went back live on TV, he was super respectful. He was like, "Oh yeah, martial arts, this and that." And then here's the thing: before that, those interviews came out or were put out and everything, interviewing other fighters that know John Jones, have known him for a long time. You know, some of them were telling me like, "Hey man, he's not who he says he is. Like, he's very different." So when he got, when he got busted with the coke thing. When he got we knew about that. Like I knew about the cocaine thing. I knew he did it all the time. You know what I mean? But it was just like one of those things where it wasn't part of the interview that I was doing, so I wasn't gonna throw it out there. And I'm not gonna be one of those guys like, oh, breaking news, John Jones does coke, because who cares? Honestly, who cares? But I knew about that, and a lot of people knew about that. A ridiculous amount of people knew about that, and so. The weird part is that people were still thought that he was a super Christian guy that was like super, happy all the time. And oh, I just hope great things for everybody. And then we saw those interviews with Daniel Cormier, and between the interviews when it wasn't live on TV and you found out who he was, literally, I saw those interviews and I disliked John Jones immediately because he was lying to me. You know what I mean? And I was like, you're faking everything, dude. You're full of shit. Don't pull that shit, Now that he's calling him a pussy and saying fuck you and all this stuff in interviews live. I can respect the honesty at least. I don't hate him anymore because I'm like, all right, cool. Now you're an asshole, but you're honest about it. I'm okay with that. I'm 100% okay with that. You're being yourself. You're not trying to lie to me, trying to paint this weak ass picture of yourself that you're a super good guy and all this stuff. You're a piece of shit and you're okay with that. You're putting it out there. You know what I mean? I'm cool with that. I can respect it. You know what I mean? I'm picking John Jones, but I like DC a lot. So if he won, I'd be okay with that. But it was weird to see that the things changed with John Jones so quickly, just like you were saying. That it's almost like overnight, everybody became a John Jones fan, and they go to New York and people were rooting for John Jones. By the way, they went to New York. That was expected. Okay, it was expected. But when they do that stuff in Vegas and people are cheering John Jones, he was like, "What the hell?" Like, do you guys? I'm sure Vegas is a fucking Sin City. It's a shitty town, but still, like, chill the fuck out, motherfuckers. Like, you do realize he hit a pregnant lady, broke her arm and shit. Could have killed her possibly. All the stuff with with the other stuff that he's done, all the lies that he threw out there and shit. And it's just like, it's weird, man. It's a weird thing to see, and it goes back to the way people are these days in society, where the Kardashians are ridiculously popular and making money for having no talent. There's been a bunch of no talent whores, and Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of the smartest people on the planet, if not the smartest person on the planet. All right, and you go, he's doing speaking tours and doing all this stuff, and it's not like main event stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if nobody knows, if Neil deGrasse Tyson comes to your town and he's going to your college auditorium or something, go to the goddamn show, okay? Go learn some shit about your world and your universe. That dude is a genius, okay? He will explain some shit. He will blow your fucking mind before you leave, okay? But instead, people sit at home and watch the Kardashians because, Kim Kardashian's big ass and a bunch of other bullshit no one gives a fuck about, really gives a fuck about. So, yeah, it's fucking people are weird, man. Yeah. So, all right. I think it's going to do it for us, man. You got anything else you want to bring up?
No, nothing apart from some crazy fights at Max Muay Thai today. They were a really good staging fighter called Beckman. He usually fights at Linden and down there. He fought on Max Muay Thai, which don't know if you know what that is. It's like it's basically a bastard stepchild of actual Muay Thai, and it's 3 rounds rather than 5. And instead of like sort of in stadium Muay Thai, they the first round they chill out, they feel you out, they throw out a couple of jabs, a few kicks, and then they'll pick up as the fight goes on and like see your weaknesses. But in match Muay Thai, for 3 rounds, win, and they just suck each other up 3 rounds. It's just for entertainment value and more. Like I said, in Thailand, and like I said, it's a bit of a bastard stepchild to proper Muay Thai, but it stayed in quite a set time before today, and it was insane. And they get uploaded on YouTube. So if anyone's watching wants to see some crazy Muay Thai, type in Max Muay Thai on YouTube, and it'll they have a channel and they're uploaded the fights, and there was some good violence.
Yeah, definitely for those guys that always like, oh, just bleed and just stand and bang. Those kind of guys need to watch Muay Thai. Like if you don't like any ground game whatsoever, stop watching MMA. Go watch Muay Thai. That's what you want to see. Like 100%. That's what you want. That's it. Everything you want.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So all right. Well, it's gonna do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Shout out to Mike Jar. Shout out to Minion on YouTube. Nick Pilecki stepped in for a little bit. Fang. Of course, Andrew Reed. And my boy Max Reed, man. Thanks for coming on, dude. Appreciate you coming on. And yeah, we'll do this again soon, hopefully. All right. All right, man. Everyone have a good day. We'll catch you guys next time.